what can we do proactively to avoid the problem? It really comes back to what we said right at the beginning. Stop stressing your oil. Avoid the water, the air, the metals. If you have actually got varnish already, you're going to be reactive at removing that. And there are techniques such as balanced charge agglomeration that will attempt to draw the very, very fine material out the oil. Similarly, electrostatic filtration, same in that we're using an electrostatic effect to draw the very, very fine material out, because we are talking, oxidized oil molecules of less than a micron in size. So clearly your standard filtration doesn't always deal with that particularly well. In fact, it can actually choke up your standard filters, but it's not removing it necessarily from the oil.
Yeah.
Rather akin to, say, pouring a bag of sand into a drain. It can choke the drain, but It's not going to stop all the sand. However, some filtration units, and I hesitate to mention brand names, but for example, offline filtration units, there's a Danish company, CC Jensen, that actually do large discs of cellulose in an offline format. And because of the slow flow of the oil through the cellulose medium, it is actually very, very effective. They've done research showing that they can pull quite a bit of the oxidized material out the oil. And the problem is proving it, because with your ISO 4406 cleanliness codes and your SAE 4059 stroke, the beloved National Aerospace Standard 1638 of the oil and gas industry, they focus on the much bigger particles, greater than 4 micron. And so clearly you could have an extremely clean result. And I've seen this where filters blocking up and we've got clean results, so clean that you begin to wonder why we're even bothering with filtration almost. But, the thing is that obviously we're not detecting the actual oxidized oil molecule because it's less than a micron. So things like gravimetric sampling, MPC, even just the color of the oil. So you've got the technique working well when your oil can go back to a nice clear bright color. And that's where also resin filtration, again, resin filtration is a kind of form of polar medium which will draw the polar material out the oil and obviously bring it back to a that would be deemed acceptable for use. Okay. So as I say, obviously, ultimately fight the WHAM, the water, the heat, the air, the metals. Look after the oil. Look after the oil and the oil will look after you.
We deal with that problem in Mediterranean area for thousands of years, you know. So you have to be careful when you consume olive oil. You have to use a high quality olive oil. You have to always use garlic as an additive. And then you also drink aceto balsamico, which is very good for removing cholesterol. And then you don't get with varnish in your bloodstream.
Let me guess, in a previous life, you were Getafix the Druid from the Asterix stories?
Yes, exactly. No, I always like to drive this kind of parallel because dealing with assets is really like a medicine. And what primary medicine doctor tells you, don't do this, take care about this, is actually key to avoid surgeon in the end. And I recognize all this in what you just said.
Great.
Good.
Well, that was a very short 6 minutes with all my wisdom dumped on you there.
Yeah, but I call it 6 Turkish minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
Because they're just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Thank you for this session, Martin. Thank you for this session. It was really great. I hope our friend will be happy with the answer. And there'll be next answer coming next Monday. Next question coming next Monday. And certainly the answer.
Are we moving on from varnish to paint next week?
Yes. So we go in layers.
I love do-it-yourself activities around the house.
Yes, exactly. Thanks a lot, and see you next week.
Great.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.